Well, let me tell you something, brother.
Snort, snort, snort.
Kogan. Drip.
Snort, snort.
I got the drip. Go.
Now, the third and final thing that we need to tackle today is the toughest one. Okay? It's the schedule. And the reason I say that is because, once again, I find myself in a situation where I don't know what to play. I don't know when to play it. I don't know how to play it. And it seems like no matter what I choose or what I do, no matter who I listen to, I get told I made the wrong decision, I screwed up, this and that. All right? So, to give you some perspective here, all right, here's my perspective. All right? This year, we are now in April, so 3 months have passed in 2024, right? I do not feel at all that this year has had one highly in-demand blockbuster game at all. And that is very odd. Previous years around these times, we've had games such as Elden Ring, Hogwarts Legacy, Resident Evil 4 Remake, just to name a few in the last couple of years. And each time one of those games came out, it felt like an event. It felt like this is something everyone's excited for. This is something everyone wants. And then when I played them, that's exactly what happened. People got excited. They came to the streams. They watched. They supported. They loved the fact that I was playing the big game. Okay? And this has been usually every year. Within the first quarter, there's a game like that. Okay? Right? This year, what have actually been the biggest, hypest games that everyone talks about? Palworld. Helldivers 2. Okay? And what's the latest one? There's another one out, I think, right now that everyone's talking about, right? Now, do you see the difference between the last 2 to 3 years and this year? You'll notice the big pattern, correct? That's different here, right? The difference is, previously, these were giant games that were AAA releases, that were readily available on every platform, that everyone wanted to see me play. It was an easy slam bang decision. Let's get them, let's play them, let's do it. And even if they didn't last, for example, Hogwarts Legacy did not last that popularity the entirety of the playthrough. It was basically like the first couple of weeks and then it died out. But still, it was that event, big event feeling when I went into those playthroughs, correct? And that was good. And then what you do is when you have those big event feeling games, you fill in the blanks with other games and everything works fine, correct? This year, we haven't had that once. And I mean that. With Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, maybe for me and for the Yakuza audience, we felt that. But that did not feel that way across the board in gaming. It's a small niche audience that likes that Japanese-centric culture JRPG style game, right? Let's be honest here. That's absolutely true. I thought Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was going to do it. I thought that would be the big game. Absolutely not. When I started playing Rebirth, within a couple of streams, all the hype had died down. People were already talking about other RPGs that were already out or about to come out, or they were talking about Helldivers 2 or something else like that. This year, there has not been a single game that has been so big or so momentous or so hyped or so in line with what everyone wants that it becomes the talk of the town and the one major focus at all. It just hasn't happened. And you could say, well, what about Helldivers 2? Yes, but that's for a certain audience. That's for those who like the indie game, for those who like a co-op game online. It's not for everyone. You know, people playing Helldivers 2 are not necessarily the same people who are going to play an RPG, who are not necessarily the same people who are going to play a fighting game, right? But when everyone ran to play Elden Ring, everyone ran to play Resident Evil 4 Remake. You see the point I'm making? There really hasn't been at all one game that has stood out and been the big game in the first 3 months of this year. Instead, I've explained this, what's happened, I feel like people have gone into their own pockets, their own little niche communities for each kind of game that they like. The RPG players are having a great time because there's a million RPGs out right now, but they're kind of clustered because there's so many out, they don't even know what to focus on, right? The people who like the online co-op stuff, they're all playing Helldivers. Fighting game players, we're playing Tekken 8. Then the DLC came out for Street Fighter 6. They moved on to that. So even there's like a discrepancy. Is it Tekken 8 or is it Street Fighter 6 right now? Right? Like the focus is just all over the place. And when that happens, it's very hard for me to do stuff that appeases my audience, right? I was locked in this huge playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3 for months and months. I wanted to keep playing Like a Dragon. I toughed through it despite the fact I knew that the majority of my audience wasn't paying attention. I got through both. And now I'm at the end of the tunnel. I'm doing new stuff. I'm enjoying myself, by the way. Like, Alone in the Dark is great. I'm going to keep playing that game. It's probably going to be about 2 more major streams. And I'm very excited to continue playing and finishing it. And people are showing up for it and engaging and supporting the streams, which is great. That's why I find it odd that here we are, and it's saying like one of my videos of it has 100 views. How is one video of over 400 views and one has 100? It's the same playthrough. What would make someone watch one video 3 times more than the other when it's an ongoing narrative playthrough? It makes no sense. I think YouTube's fucked up. Okay, but anyway. The point I'm making here is I'm trying to make the right decisions, okay? And I've made some decisions based directly on your feedback, but now the result that's happening afterward isn't as expected, and I need to know what you guys want me to do, because for the month of April, I mean, we're going to know better when we hit up Saturday and my marathon event for my birthday, because on Saturday, we're going to be going through the game schedule. And when we do that, we're going to see exactly what games come out when, and we'll be able to see, excuse me, we'll be able to see what happens with new releases versus time in between new releases, and see if we want to fit in other games and things. That's going to help, for sure. But right now, for the month of April, I'm uncertain on what to focus on, except Elden Ring. Because I need to play Elden Ring, all right? I need to get back to the point where the DLC is, right? I have to. If I don't, I can't play the DLC, and I know everyone wants to see the DLC in June, correct? Guys, I'm just going to say this right now. Shut up about Stellar Blade. We're not even talking about that. That's later in the month. I've already said I'm not interested in it, and if you spam the chat with it, no matter who you are, I'm going to time you out. So shut up about Stellar Blade. That's not the topic right now. You have to listen to what I'm saying and stop spamming chat with nonsense. Okay? Shut up about it. It gets tiring. It does. When people say the same shit every day, and I've already tons of times explained rationale of why I'm interested in a game or why I'm not, you should respect my decision to want to play a game or not, and not fucking spam chat like a child. So please stop. Okay. Now, here's what's going on right now with my current playthroughs. Let me get you all caught up with this. Okay? Right now, Alone in the Dark's doing good. Every time I play it, good attendance, good engagement, good support. Playthrough was doing fine until this view issue, which I don't know if it was an issue or not, what the hell's going on with it. But it's doing well. Okay? Cool. Excellent. We are about to jump back into Elden Ring. I don't know how this is going to do. I don't. But I feel like this is a necessary thing I have to do anyway. Right? Correct. I have to play Elden Ring. We have to get to the DLC portion. It's going to take a bit because I have to get back into the game. It's reacclimated. I have to add this word to my vocabulary because I keep saying other words that aren't correct. The word is reacclimated. It means you have to get adjusted back to a climate. Like, let's say you were living in a hot, warm climate, but now you're moving somewhere where it's cooler. Right? So you have to get reacclimated, and that's what it is. I've been away from FromSoft for a year. Yes, I did play Lies of P, but that played a lot more like Bloodborne. I have to get reacclimated to the world of Elden Ring. I have to get up to the point where I can do the DLC. It's going to take a bit. There's a while to go, and there's content to do before we get there. Okay? So this is necessary regardless. And again, to reiterate why I need to play Elden Ring now, I don't want to start Elden Ring in like May, play for a month, get to the point where the DLC is, and then immediately start the DLC. That's too much Elden Ring. You know, I want to play some now, then be able to take a break from it, and then go back to it feeling refreshed for when the DLC comes out. And that's my point here, is that's why this is the right time to start Elden Ring again. Okay? Now, excuse me. So, that's why Elden Ring is going to work, I feel. Okay? So, between Alone in the Dark and Elden Ring, that stuff is set, and I think we're good on that. All right? What's uncertain right now are the night streams. All right? First of all, tonight we're actually going to try the Star Wars Battlefront Classics Collection again. And I'm curious to see how it works and if it works. Because we played it on release day and it didn't work. Yeah, at all. It was just broken. Horribly laggy. Hit detection not working. It was just a waste of time. Right? So, tonight, they've patched it, and I want to see how much better it is. If it plays decently, then we can at least have it as a random stream every once in a while. I'm not saying it would be a regular thing, but maybe once a week, you know, toss it in there as a variety stream or something like that. I think that would work well. Okay? Now, exactly. Nick says, I wonder if people already moved on. Yeah, I don't even know if it works, right? I literally don't know if it works. And if it does work, how many people are playing it? It's a good question. That's why we're going to experiment with that tonight. Okay? Now, I'm currently playing a game. I'm 9.5 hours into it. All right? And I don't know what to do with it. It's called Dragon's Dogma 2. Okay? I'm only playing Dragon's Dogma 2 because you guys and gals requested it. Remember, originally a few weeks ago, I said I was set on playing Rise of the Ronin. Okay? I said I want to play Rise of the Ronin. And everyone was like, well, you can play Rise of the Ronin, but we feel that Dragon's Dogma 2 is going to be a better choice. Dragon's Dogma 2 looks like it might be a Game of the Year contender. Dragon's Dogma 2 is just going to get better, you know, more people. It's going to get more viewership, and you should definitely play Dragon's Dogma 2. Okay? And I'm like, well, you know, by the way, now I'm just going to start banning people, because now you're just doing it on purpose. So I'm just going to start banning people now. I mean, go ahead, keep bringing up Stellar Blade and see what happens. I've outright said no a million times, so every person who says it will just be banned, and I'm going to laugh, actually. In fact, here's 2. There you go, there's 2, and let's continue. Just continue to say it and see what happens. You want to test me, go right ahead. I have a point to make on my stream. I have to concentrate and not be distracted by idiots. Okay. Now, as I was saying, with Dragon's Dogma 2, all right, this is a game that basically combines the gameplay of a FromSoft game, say Dark Souls, with Monster Hunter. Like, I feel like that's exactly what they were going for with it, okay? Like, totally dead on, that's what they were going for. They didn't want it to feel like you were playing Dark Souls again. They wanted you to feel like you're in a team-based setting with others co-oping against these giant, you know, creatures that if you just soloed them, you wouldn't be able to beat them. So essentially, it almost feels like a co-op Dark Souls, but it's not because you're using, it's AI, right? You're not teaming up with real people online or anything like that. That's really what the first game felt like. It's cryptic. It doesn't have a lot of explanation of what you're supposed to do or how you're supposed to go about stuff. So there you go. A lot of people like that. A lot of people don't, right? Like, a lot of people feel like the game is too cryptic and has a lot of issues. And what I've always noticed is the moment I started playing it, people are like, wow, the game looks like shit. The game doesn't look like shit. It performs like shit. And what I mean by that is the graphics themselves are fine, but the game has a choppy frame rate because they did it in the RE engine, which isn't meant for an open world style of game, yet they did it anyway. And of course, at launch, they instituted motion blur and they instituted ray tracing. So the whole first 7.5 hours of my playthrough do look bad. But as of last night, they patched the game and now you can disable that stuff. And now the game looks better. It does. It does look much better now. So I think Capcom is addressing the issues. The problem is it took them a week and a half to get around to addressing any of them. And that could be an issue for a lot of people. You know, first impressions are everything, right? And that's a problem. If people look at first impressions, wow, why is the game so choppy? They're going to say, well, I'm not going to pay attention to it anymore, right? For me, I'm 9.5 hours in, and I'm on the fence about the game. Like, I don't love the game, but I also don't hate it. I feel like right now, I'm just kind of still feeling it out of what I think about it. There are times when I really like it. Awesome moments when I'm smashing enemies and doing cool combos and taking out big bosses. I'm like, this is neat. And then there's other times, like last night. Just listen to this. Last night, I freaking go for a mission, and the mission says, just go to a masquerade ball. Okay, so I dress in the clothing, I put on a mask, I walk into the ball. I get an achievement. It says, you attended the masquerade ball. And as I'm walking in, all the people walk out. And I'm like, where'd everyone go? And I'm like, what am I supposed to do? Is there a mission here or not? And I can't figure it out. So now I'm passing time, and the ball just won't restart. And everyone's like, yeah, so you're like the unluckiest dude on the planet. You literally walked into the masquerade ball as it ended, which ended the quest. So now you have to cycle an entire day's time and come back at the beginning of the ball to have the NPCs start doing their dialogue triggers again so that you can actually have the mission advance. And by the way, the cutscene that's supposed to play never played for me. There's supposed to be a cutscene showing someone walk behind the masquerade ball into a room, and then you figure out, oh, there's a secret passage in that room. That's where you go. And it never happened for me. So it's like, I guess I'm just Mr. Unlucky, right? So stuff like that frustrates me, you know? And the fact that the entire game, I know it's going to be a lot of walking, going on foot and stuff. It's going to not be the most fun thing to watch at all moments. But like I said, I don't think Dragon's Dogma 2 would ever work as a daytime stream. It's too lengthy. It's too dragging on. There's not a lot of story developments at all in it. Like, there's almost no story in this game. Usually it's a few quick cutscenes, and you're right back to doing the kind of grindy style open world gameplay and combat, which is the majority of the game. Excuse me. So, I don't think it's going to work in that regard as a day stream. You need something that's more narrative based or more action based for the day stream. You do. So, that's why I made it the late night chill stream, and people seem to agree. Yeah, it's going to work better there. So, last night, I played it. And now keep in mind, launch day, I played 5.5 hours of it, but then I wasn't able to play it right again because I had to finish up Baldur's Gate 3 and Like a Dragon, which I have. Then I played it again on Saturday night, and now I played it again on Monday night. Last night, it was a decent attendance, let's put it that way. But what I found is half the people that were there were just there to troll. They were just a bunch of new accounts I'd never seen before, and they're saying stupid shit, and they're saying disgusting things. Their names are all messed up, and they're just sitting there trolling in the chat. And I'm like, oh, you know, when I get a late night chill stream, I just want to relax with the audience and enjoy the game and interact a lot. We didn't get that last night. Although there were a few people there that were very helpful with the game or whatever. Basically, it was very frustrating to have a lot of idiots in the chat. I was like, oh my God, I got to deal with this shit, right? And to be very frank, all right, engagement was low and support was very low. And, you know, the thing is, I can have like one, what's considered late night chill stream game in the rotation where we don't get a lot of engagement or support. It's more about a smaller crowd, a niche audience that likes it, okay? And that's the game that's how it happened. That's literally what Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth was. For end of January all the way until just this week, that was my late night chill stream game, where for 2 months, I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of people. I knew I wasn't going to get a lot of support, but I liked the game and I wanted to continue on with it, and it went for 60-some hours, okay? It's okay to have one game like that in the rotation. But I can't have 2-3 games like that in the rotation. I've got to find games that people actually want to see, will come out to engage and support. That's how I maintain this business. That's how I'm able to do what I love for a living, is that balance, all right? Again, if I just played all the games that I always wanted to play, it wouldn't work. I've got to find that happy medium between everything I love, what you guys love, and the things that we can do together that are going to work out, right? And that's why I love having these interactive conversations with all of you, because I get your feedback right away, and we get to judge what's going on. And honestly, that's why I'm upset about the comments. I was trying to get comments on the gameplay last night and my daily wrap last night to find out what to do today, and I couldn't get the comments approved. It really frustrated me. I'm like, dude, this is the time I really need feedback. And if YouTube didn't want to work, I'm like, oh my God, that's really what drove me nuts this morning. Okay? So, after last night's stream, it's like, it performed so poorly. I mean, literally, I got like 1 super chat all night. I think it was 2 memberships and like 2 tips. So it was like maybe $10 raised. And again, it's not always about that, but is this going to be a pattern for this game? Is this going to be my late night chill stream game just like a Dragon, where that's the case? If that's the case, okay, but then I got to be sure that everything else I'm doing is in line with what you want so that those streams do better. Okay? So that's the question I'm proposing to everyone. All right? Dragon's Dogma 2, what do you think about it? If you don't think the game's good, why? Is there something I can do about the playthrough to improve it so people will actually show up and engage and support with those streams? Or is it destined to be a game that people just aren't going to like? And if that's the case, why? Because I really want to know. Because remember, I was going to play Rise of the Ronin. I was dead set on playing Rise of the Ronin. And you guys convinced me otherwise and said, no. I remember the day I was sitting right here. And I said, what would you say? Everyone, DD2, 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 DD2. Everyone wanted Dragon's Dogma 2. Everyone asked for it. And I said, all right, I guess I'll change my mind. I'll listen to your opinions. I'll do what you want. And now here we are playing it. And now people are like, nah. So what happened? Right? Where is that discrepancy? Is it a problem with the game? Is it a problem with my play style? Is it a problem with both? Is it a problem with the time slot? I want to know. Because sadly, I hate to say it, this kind of game, I don't think would work as a day stream. As I said, the day streams usually have to be focused on games that have a lot of narrative or a lot of, say, like different kinds of action and stuff like that. This game is just open world roaming, grinding a lot of repetitive combat, not a lot of big narrative or story developments at all. The game has almost none. It's very bare bones in that regard. It's more about exploring the world and smashing monsters constantly, right? Excuse me. So I need to know your opinions, and I definitely want to hear. See, Zero says if you're not enjoying it, it won't work. Who says I'm not enjoying Dragon's Dogma 2? Like I said, I'm not in love with the game, but I feel like I'm just getting into a rhythm of playing it. I played it 5.5 hours on launch day, 2 hours on Saturday night, 2 hours last night, and I just got a new build. I just got the Warrior build, and I'm trying to learn it. And are there some frustrating things about the game? There are, but I feel like just like with the first time that I played this game, it grew on me. Like originally when I played Dragon's Dogma 1 12 years ago, at first, I was definitely kind of like, oh, I don't know about it. I don't know about it. But once I finally got into a rhythm, once I got a build that I really liked, I ended up enjoying it a lot more. I did treat it, quite frankly, even though I wasn't a streamer, I treated it like my chill game. Like I would sit back and relax and I would play it and I would have a drink and I would grind and I would kill monsters and I would record that footage and upload it. And honestly, it didn't do that well. Do you want to know the truth? Dragon's Dogma, the original playthrough, didn't do that well. I think it was like the first, few days that I played it did okay. And then after that, once you got to the part where you realize, oh, the formula is just a bunch of open world grinding, it actually didn't do well at all. I remember because I wanted to rush to finish it because I was going on a trip. And then I beat it, but then everyone's like, there's a post-game dungeon. I was like, seriously? Well, let me just rush and finish the dungeon. And come to find out the dungeon is like 6-7 hours long. I thought it was like an hour long. So I was rushing to finish it. I didn't get it done. I just remember that. Okay? So basically, I know for a fact, even back then, this franchise didn't do that well in my content. And that was when I was at the peak of my height of popularity on YouTube, right? So that's what's frustrating here is I don't know what to do about this game. Is this a game you want me to keep playing? How do I adjust it to make it work? I tried it as a day stream, but the feedback is essentially, excuse me, essentially it's not as good of a game as people thought it was going to be. And as a day stream, it's going to fail because it's just a lot of combat, right? Again, there's not major story elements or things that are really going to happen. The cutscenes are limited. It's more run around, smash enemies, run around again, smash more enemies. That's the game. That's way more in line with my late night chill stream mantra of, hey, come on, just relax. We're doing some gameplay, but we're also going to talk and interact to make it more interesting as opposed to me being hyper-focused on the game. That's how it's always been, okay? So, does Dragon's Dogma 2 work? If it doesn't work, then what do? Do I drop the game? Do I only play it as a late night chill stream and just accept that it's always going to be a slower stream with way low support? Like, what do I do? All right, I want to know. I genuinely want to know. I need feedback here. I'm okay with continuing to play it as a chill stream. I don't think it's ever going to work as a day stream because of the style of game it is, just being honest. But it sucks because people convinced me it would. That's why I bought it. That's why I'm playing it. I would have been playing Rise of the Ronin, and I guess I don't know if I made the correct decision here, okay? Now, the funny part about all of this is, okay, people in the chat are saying, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Don't you remember? I didn't skip the game. You guys talk as if I skipped the game and didn't play it. I did. I'm 20 hours in. I think I stopped around the 20-hour mark. And the reason I stopped is because people were not showing up to the streams. I remember the last stream I did of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, okay? We had 200 viewers on a day stream. Day streams were typically, you can get 300, 400, 500, depending on the game, We had 200. The people who were on the stream were actively complaining during the entirety of the stream that they were bored. They were like, wow, we had no idea this game was this boring. It just is. It's just really boring. And it sucks because I like the game. I actually like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I was having a good time with it. Admittedly, when I got to the second open world area and I realized, man, the open world content is so similar to the first area. I wonder if it's all the same for the whole thing, right? But for the most part, I was enjoying myself. I was having a good time. But people were constantly complaining. Every time you do the card game, it's boring. Well, you need to play the card game because there's card game stuff in the story later and you need to have good cards to beat it. We don't care. It's still boring. I didn't put the card game in the game. I didn't design the game. I'm just playing the game for what it is, right? And then I'm doing the open world content because it's there. It's part of the game. Oh, this is boring. So do you want me to just skip it all? I can. But then people will complain that I didn't do all the content of the game. I rushed through it, right? So what do you want, right? But this is what I was faced with when I was playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I was hyped for it. I was excited for it. I was enjoying playing it. And it wasn't in line with what was happening on the streams. People were literally telling me, man, this is boring. Do something else. This is a bust. That's literally exactly what was happening on those streams. So, I play Final Fantasy VII, not working. I play Dragon's Dogma 2, not working. What do I equate here? Like, what? Let's be honest. What's the one common factor? They're JRPGs, right? Just like a Dragon. They're JRPGs. This is the problem. And I kept telling you guys this was going to happen. That when so much of the same style of game comes out, people will have a shorter attention span. If there was only one JRPG that had come out in the last 3 months and it was the hype one, if there was no Like a Dragon, if there was no Dragon's Dogma, if there was no Persona 3, if there was no Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, if the only JRPG that had come out in the last 3 months was Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, everyone would be all over the game. People would be hyped for it, excited. That's what happened with Final Fantasy VII Remake, is that it was the only RPG. All other RPGs stepped back and gave it its birth to come out because they expected it to be this giant dynamo game. They really did. And because of that, everyone was hyper-focused on playing Final Fantasy VII Remake, and it got a ton of attention, right? In this case, this is just one amongst many, many JRPGs that have come out in the last 3 months. So all the attention gets all over the place. Like I said, there's not one big game that came out in 2024 yet that's everyone's focus. It just hasn't happened. Even if you're like, oh, well, Helldivers. No. Number one, it didn't get hype. It only got virally popular because people were playing it like streamers. And then even then, it's for a niche audience of people who like online co-op. It is not a ginormous AAA hyped major release that everyone in the gaming industry is playing. It's just not the case, okay? It's a very popular game and people love it, and that's great. I give it credit because, like I said, if it was my style of game, I would be playing it right now, but it's just not. The whole online team-based co-op isn't what I do. But there's not been one singular game that's gotten everyone's focus, and this is the problem. I'm trying to get a schedule of games that you guys want. So you'll come by every day, you'll engage, you'll support, you'll have a good time with me. And even if not, maybe only one of the games I'm playing right now is of your interest. Cool. That's why I like being a variety streamer. But I have to get to that level where we get the right balance. Okay? And I'm listening to feedback, and then for some reason, these games aren't clicking. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth and Dragon's Dogma 2 both have not clicked. Alone in the Dark is clicking. It's working. Elden Ring. Do I think Elden Ring is going to blow everyone away? No. I played the game twice already. But at least we're doing stuff that's working towards the DLC. I think there's going to always be a core audience for Elden Ring no matter what. That people like the game, right? They enjoy it. And so I don't think we're going to have an issue there. Okay? The problem is finding the other games to fill in the blanks. Because I can't just play 2 games nonstop. We like variety, right? You know, fighting games were working for a while, but I played them for 9 straight months. I got burnt out. I don't want to get burnt out to the point where I'm not enjoying what I'm doing. And that's exactly what happened with fighting games. You get too worked up about them, caring too much about, performance and rankings and all of that shit. And every session becomes such a stress-filled session that you just don't care anymore. You just don't want to play it anymore, right? So, yeah, I don't know. I guess we got to figure this out. And this is what I need feedback on right now is, so here's the thing. Oh, by the way, I have a proposal too, which some of you are going to love and others of you are going to absolutely hate. All right. So here's the deal. Right now, I feel like we do need an RPG in the rotation. And no, I don't mean Elden Ring, because I don't even view Elden Ring as an RPG playthrough. It's not. It's a FromSoft playthrough. It's a Soulsborne playthrough. That's very different than a typical RPG. When I say RPG, I'm talking about games that are more long form, games that are going to be played different. It's not constant death threat, stuff like that. It's a different you know what I'm saying? Excuse me. So, no, I don't feel like Elden Ring is a JRPG as though many, well, technically it is. Yeah, go ahead and be a stickler. You know it's not what I'm talking about. You know it's a completely different style of game, okay? The way I see it is that we need to figure out what's going to be our game in the rotation that's an RPG. If it's going to be a late night chill stream, that's okay. If it means that it's going to have lower attendance and low support, that's also okay. But I can't do more than one at a time. It will never work. I did that with Baldur's Gate 3 and Like a Dragon. It didn't work. All right. So basically, we have to have a game in the rotation that's going to work. Is it going to be Dragon's Dogma 2? Or do you want me to bring back Final Fantasy VII Rebirth? What's it going to be? I don't care. I'll play either game. I really will. I was liking Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I really was enjoying it. And then I stopped playing it because people were telling me they were bored to tears. I had an insanely low attendance for a daytime stream. Everything was telling me stop. So I did. Okay? So, that being said, I have another proposal. And I know a very, 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 very small group of you are going to like this proposal. Very small. I'm one of them. Okay? Everyone else is going to be upset. But I'm going to make the proposal anyway. All right? So you ready for this? I don't know if you're ready. I wonder if people will... no one's going to guess this. I'm going to give you guys 1 minute to guess what my proposal is going to be. Let's see. Because I guess no one's going to guess this. I don't think a single person will. Okay? Let's see what people have to say. People saying Baldur's Gate 3, Street Fighter 6. I'm going to let people talk for a minute, and then we're going to see if anyone hit it on the nose. Sea of Stars, GTA 5, Beyond Two Souls with Cat. Keep in mind, Beyond Two Souls co-op is coming. We're going to start that soon. It's just a matter of when, and we haven't hammered that in yet. DS Politics, Skyrim, Tekken, Pokemon DLC, Alan Wake 2, Fallout 4, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, Myst. We already did Myst, but maybe you're talking about Riven, the sequel. We did play Myst a few years ago. Fightcade, Fallout 3, Lords of the Fallen, Roller Coaster Tycoon, Beyond Two Souls with Cat. I already said we're doing that. We're doing Beyond Two Souls with Cat. Don't worry about that. That's coming. That is definitely coming to the schedule. Football Manager, Paper Mario, I don't even know what Anarchy Minecraft is. I've never even heard of it. Final Fantasy 13, Gothic, DK64 Redemption Run. Now we're getting ridiculous. How dare you suggest... How dare you have the audacity on my stream to suggest a Donkey Kong 64 Redemption Run? Now you've done it. Now... the straw that's broken the camel's back just broke the camel's back. I can't believe you would say that. I am so upset with you and so offended that you would suggest that. How dare you? Okay. A minute has passed. Predictably, none of you have guessed it. Okay? You ready? I know no one's going to like this but me. Maybe there'll be 2 people in chat that will like this idea. All right? You ready? Ladies and gentlemen, today is April 2nd, 2024. Do you know what today is? The day after April Fool's Day, but that's not the point. Today is the 30th anniversary of Final Fantasy VI's release. 30 freaking years since the best RPG was released. Okay? I know immediately people are going to say, what? What? Yeah, did you know that? Yeah, amazing. Did you know that Nobuo Uematsu himself, Mr. Final Fantasy composer, said, Final Fantasy VI is my favorite Final Fantasy game of all time, and it's a tie between Terra's theme and To Xanark Land as the best music he's ever made in his life. Okay? That's right. So, the point I'm making here is, if we're going to be playing RPGs, if we're going to be playing games that people are going to say, oh, that's going to be boring and no one's going to show up, then I might as well play a game that I want to play, that I've wanted to play for a while. I own the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Collection. Last year, if you remember, we played Final Fantasy V. It's been a while. In fact, I'm going to take a look here. Hold on one second. Why can't I find it? Oh, because I'm searching in live. Oh my god, no wonder. I'm searching in the live folder. Like, no wonder I can't find it. I'm completely in the wrong folder. This is Final Fantasy VII. I'm trying to find my playthroughs of Final Fantasy VI. How old they are. What style they were. Let's see. Oh, this is 7 Remake. Was this the last part? Oh, my original playthrough of Final Fantasy VII Remake was 37 hours. So I actually didn't do a lot of the content, I guess, unless it was a much shorter game than Rebirth. I didn't even realize that. Okay, my last playthrough of Final Fantasy VI was January of 2020. And this was emulated on what? Hold on. I played the PS1 version that was emulated on PS3. So that means then my PS3 was still working. That was probably right before my PS3 broke and did that system update that bricked the damn thing. Which still pisses me off to this day that that happened. It does. I don't know what happened to it that now it doesn't work anymore. It really pisses me off because I liked having the option to play retro games on there, and I lost that option now, which really is annoying as shit to me. The original Final Fantasy III playthrough of that I played was actually way back when, before I did direct capture. But last year, I got the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster Collection, which is Final Fantasy 1 through 6, redone with better graphics, better music, widescreen aspect ratio, and quality of life improvements. And so I haven't, I've thought about doing it. You guys, when I was playing Final Fantasy V last year, you guys were 100% screaming for it, actually, as I was playing Final Fantasy V. You were like, I want you to play Final Fantasy VI again. I was like, I feel like I just played it. Well, now it doesn't feel like I just played it. It feels like it's been a while. Okay, Darziak says, here we go. Darziak looked it up. My original playthrough of Final Fantasy VI was on May 2012, and that was the camera style. My second playthrough began in December of 2019. So it's been a while. It's been about 4.5 years since I played it, or 12 years since I played it, depending on which one you're talking about. Okay? So, excuse me. Yeah, so the way I see it, if we're going to keep an RPG in the rotation, we have 3 options. Option number 1, continue with Dragon's Dogma 2, right? Hope for the best. Hope people will start to show up and engage and support the playthrough. And if it doesn't, I guess that's my late night chill stream, right? Or we can suspend Dragon's Dogma 2, and we can go back to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But if I do that, I want all of you people who have been screaming at me for the last month about not playing Rebirth to actually show up. You have to come. You understand? You have to show up when I play it. Not scream about it, say you want it, and then when I play it, the stream is dead. Everyone's complaining that no one likes it. It's boring. Like, what's the point then? Because that's literally what the feedback that I was getting is, this game sucks. It's boring. It's not as good as we thought it was going to be. And I was shocked because I thought for sure it was going to be a big event game. And that's the reaction I got. Okay? So that's the question, right? What are we going to do? Or if no one can agree and everyone's just going to argue at each other and everyone's not going to show up to those streams anyway, I'm just going to play Final Fantasy VI in the Pixel Remaster. And if I get 10 people, I'll still be grinning ear to ear because I love the game, right? So I guess that's a question. Like, what is it? What are we going to do? We can only have one of those in the rotation. Only one. So let's think it out. I mean, you guys are doing super chats. I'm going to read these out in a minute. Okay? Okay? And we'll see. But I need feedback. I need opinions. I need to know what's going on. Let me know. We have to figure this out. Now, as of now, I do have a late night stream of Dragon's Dogma 2 scheduled for tomorrow night. So I think what I might do, we'll leave that for now. Let's leave that set for now. Let's see how that does tomorrow. All right? And if it comes back and if people show up and engage in support and it ends up working out, then we'll just keep that in the rotation. But if I play it again tomorrow and it's just the same as it was and disappointing and people are upset and not liking it, then we're going to do something different. Okay? Okay? Because this is the problem. Like I said, since there's no definitive game that everyone wants, we get these problems, right? It's just like someone said it very recently in a comment. Remember? Here was what they said. They said the problem that you're having right now is that everyone wants games, but no one can agree on what game. When people say, hey, Phil, we want more of you. We want more chill time with you. And you do a late night chill stream and you talk with us for 2 hours, everyone's getting what they want, chilling with you. But when people say we want more games, the problem is no one agrees on the game. Someone wants Dragon's Dogma. Someone wants Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Someone wants a classic Final Fantasy game. Someone wants you to go back and do a second run of Baldur's Gate 3. You see what I'm saying? Everyone's all over the place with what they want. And when people scream, poll, 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 and I've literally just did a poll twice in the last 2 days on the Throwback channel that was skewed by trolls, I'm suspect of maybe you have the bad intentions. You know what I'm saying? We literally just discussed how the poll doesn't work because trolls have been skewing it on one channel, and now you're going to act like we didn't talk about that and demand a poll because you think I'm stupid, and I'm going to do a poll that's just going to be skewed by trolls again, and it won't matter. Right? Well, I'm not stupid. All right? So, no, we're not going to do that. Gaspavelli says, I think your mainstream watchers just have low attention spans. Laughing out loud. I go watch RPG playthroughs on demand. And I appreciate that. I really do appreciate that. Those who are checking out the playthroughs on demand, that's very nice of you. All right? But being frank, I make my living on the streams these days. The ad revenue is very low. It's not great. All right? If the people who are watching the content on demand were becoming members regularly, renewing those memberships, doing super thanks on the videos as they watched them, okay, that would be different. But what I find is the vast majority of people watching the videos on demand literally just watch the videos on demand and that's it. And that's old YouTube, right? That's why the vast majority of people who make YouTube videos don't just make on-demand YouTube videos anymore. They diversify. They have streams. They have other projects. They have product placement. They have advertisements. They have referral codes. They have sponsorships. They need that because you can't do it like that anymore. That formula doesn't work. The reason why I split my parts up the way I do and number them and not just put out an archive stream that's just a raw 5-hour lump is because I respect and appreciate those who still watch my content on demand. I want this to be digestible for you. I want this to be watchable for you in a series, in order, with a thumbnail, with a nice title so you know what you're watching, right? So that's really the problem, is I get it. There is an audience for this stuff, but sadly, I don't make my living from that. I make my living from the streams, from the contributions on these streams, the super chats, the memberships, gifted memberships and tips. This is what keeps me afloat most of the month, you know? So I have to stream what's going to work on a stream. That's what we got to figure out. And again, even if it means that either Dragon's Dogma 2, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, or Final Fantasy VI from the Pixel Remaster is just a late night chill stream. And even if it means it's low attendance and low support, that's okay. As long as I at least know I'm playing the one that you guys want. At this point, there's just too much. There's too many options, you see? That's really the problem. There's just too much. There were too many RPGs, and I can't pick which one is going to work. Ice Darkness, I understand what you're saying. It's never going to work. That's not me. He says it's because you're missing the release windows of the games. It doesn't matter if I play it on the release window. It doesn't. I'm still not going to get that at the level that you're talking about. I played Dragon's Dogma 2 all day on release day. Didn't you know that? Now I'm playing it, everyone, oh, it's boring. I played it on release. right? I even made room in my schedule for it. These games, these lengthy RPGs, do not retain audiences. They just never do. They're too long. People are fickle. People want to see a game when it's flash in the pan popular for a day or two, and then they move on to the next what's flash in the pan popular. The difference is there's no big games. If there was a big game, it would retain attendance. Resident Evil 4 Remake retained attendance. Hogwarts Legacy retained attendance for at least 2 to 3 weeks before it fell off. You know, any new FromSoft game definitely retains attendance. It's the problem is these games, they just 1 or 2 days people are excited and they move right on. I'm not a streamer that jumps from game to game and drops them on a whim. I don't make enough money to do that, quite frankly. I can't buy 2 $70 games a week, play it for 2 streams, drop it, buy 2 more $70 games the next week, drop them, buy 2 more. You know, I'm in it for the long haul for a lot of these games. That's the point. And the point is, the problem is there's too many of the same fucking style of long games. Too many long RPGs. So I got to lay down the law and say I'm only playing one at a time. Okay? And we got to figure it out. What's it going to be? So that's the feedback I need. Now, I feel like I've explained this as rationally and matter-of-factly as I can to my audience of what we're doing. We got to figure out what's going to be the RPG. We're still going to be doing Elden Ring. It's a necessary thing we have to do now to prepare for the DLC. But everything else, like this RPG stuff, we have to figure out. Okay? And by the way, we're going to finish Alone in the Dark sooner rather than later. We're going to play it tomorrow, and probably we're playing it again on like Monday, and it's done. It's not a super long game. So then we have opportunity to do something else. Okay? And what will it be? I don't know. We got to talk about that. It could be anything. It could be a game we get from Game Pass. It could be a game that I skipped and we want to bring into the fold because I skipped it. You know, it could be anything. I'm okay with that, you know. But we got to figure this out. Okay? All right. I said my piece, so I want feedback. I really do. I want feedback. What should it be? What games should I be playing? What's going to be the one big RPG that we focus on? And I mean, and if I get the feedback and it's like, do this, and I do it, and then immediately the streams are failing and everyone's complaining the game's boring, I don't know what else to do. I don't know what to tell you guys. That just shows it's a symptom of the industry and the games that are coming out and not the person playing them. Okay? Because if I can turn the games off and have a bigger audience, right now, I have an audience of 705 people. Okay? Contributions are literally coming in. I got tips. I got super chats. I got everything coming in just because I'm sitting here talking to you. If this is doing better than me playing the game, then I know what the problem is. It's the fucking games. Right? Seriously. That's the problem. I can do a late night chill stream, impromptu, and people show up and just hang out with me to talk for 2 hours, and the stream performs well. I'm not the problem. The games industry has changed. It has. It's not like it used to be. It used to be big, high priority, AAA, hyped. Everyone wants to play them games. Now everyone's run off to their little genre corners. There's the RPGs over here, the FromSoft games over here, the looter shooters over here, the co-op games over here, the meme games over here, the sports game over here, the fighting game over here. And everyone's just off in their own little circles doing whatever they want, and nothing ever feels big. Nothing ever feels momentous. Nothing ever feels like it's driving all the attention of the gaming community anymore. What was the last game that did that? Right? What was the last game that did that? Well, it's probably Resident Evil 4 Remake. Right? It's just a different world now. So, what are we going to do? And here you go. I love it. 0 accountability, 0 chat, 0 fucking interaction. You're banned. You're a fucking idiot. Literally all evidence points to it's the games right now. Because I've tried everything. I've listened to feedback. I've played the games you want. And if it doesn't work, how could it be me? My streams of me just talking do better. So what the fuck are you talking about? Kiss my ass. Fucking idiot. Trust me. If when I was doing content of me just talking, it tanked, then I'd be like, okay, makes sense. I'm the problem. Obviously, that's not the fucking case, right? People are actually saying things like, it's more boring to watch me play a game than just sit here and talk with you. That's pretty interesting and telling, don't you think? I'm more entertaining than the game I'm playing. Shit. What happened? Right? And it's funny because people used to say the only reason that Phil gets attention is because he plays every popular game. It's not him. Well, now I get more attention on the things that are me and no games. So, how the tables have flipped and turned, right? Sheesh.
I got the drip going. 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 I got the drip going.
It's like a faucet that's dripping. You can't make it stop. So what do you want me to do? Have a mute button that every second I'm tapping the mute button just in case I'm gonna have to clear? Like, this is what I mean. These dumb kids. This is what it is. It's dumb kids.